Hello, everyone. My name is Alexandra Banner, but I go by Alex. I am currently a senior at the Rosen College of Hospitality Management, majoring hospitality management. I will be graduating this fall in December of 2024, which I am very excited about. I have completed many feats at the University of Central Florida, such as President's List, probably 95% of my semesters, as well as playing softball for UCF. To start with my experience, I entered the industry when I was about 15 years old. I worked as a language translator for my father's company. He worked and owned a baseball company for teens and young youth at the time. And he would host tournaments across the United States, which I would accompany him and work as a translator for teams that did not speak English. Being fluent in multiple languages, I was able to make the tournament a lot easier for people who didn't speak English. I learned a lot from this job, being able to be really much better in communication skills and a lot of patience, especially because I'm working with people who don't speak English. I feel as if this may have been the start of my excellence in communication and patience due to having to deal with difficult people as well as working in the blazing hot sun every single day and traveling all across the United States. From this job, I worked as a phone girl in my hometown's Italian restaurant called Sal's. I worked directly with customer service, answering all the phone calls, placing orders, helping with side work. This was my first job working in food and beverage, I guess hospitality, not management side, but I did a great job at it. And I learned the ways of back of house regard instead of front of house. I think working here was crucial to my growth in customer service because I did have to answer phones hundreds of times in the week. It took a lot out of me, that's for sure. I did a whole lot of talking and I deal with a lot of difficult people, especially a lot of people were making complaints on the phone, which I had to personally handle at 15 years old. And I became so much better at doing it because I had to practice it so often. And after working for Sal's for a few months, I worked at a company that you all probably know. It's called Blaze Pizza. Um, wasn't my favorite job, didn't really last that long. It just wasn't for me. I learned that I didn't really like food and beverage that much, but I did get to practice more face-to-face customer service skills. And fast forward a few jobs, I feel like I really got to kickstart my career in the hospitality industry. Throughout my time as a hospitality major, I learned quickly that I wanted to work in the country club industry. And knowing this, I took the steps to get an internship at a high-end country club across the street from where I live in Palm Beach, Florida. And I started in January of 2024 working in the renovated fitness center as a fitness attendant. My daily duties would consist of a lot of cleaning, making sure our gym was sanitary for those who decided to use our gym. Also, being an athlete of 15 years, someone who constantly used the gym, I was able to offer direction and advice on how to use particular machines if the older people or people in general needed help. I also provided maintenance on all the machines when there were technical difficulties. My love for fitness and hospitality collided, and I enjoyed my position working for the club very much. I learned that during my internship, I was able to be quick on my feet, flexible, and how to handle difficult guests yet again. This leads me into one of my source stories. It actually happened at Old Palm, that job with the fitness center. I remember encountering an older gentleman who was a difficult member, and people kind of knew him as kind of a angry human being. And he really expressed his dissatisfaction for the newly renovated fitness center, even though everything was brand new and beautiful, and mostly everybody had loved it. And the members' upsetness would confrontational attitude would really upset my staff and myself and other members, and it would cause kind of a ripple in the gym whenever he would come around. I'm really strong when it comes to holding my ground. So I wanted to make sure that everything was solved and make sure that all the members were happy. So I went to him, I asked him like what was going on my break. So I could have just totally ignored the incident, but I went on my break and I went to him and talked to him what he had going on. And because I was able to talk to him, I got to know him a little bit better one-on-one, and I got to know what was wrong with him in the club. And he told me that people were on the phone too much and it was too much noise. So I kind of wanted a happy medium. So instead, I went to my supervisor and even my GM about stating new things in the club, we were brand new gym, brand new, literally like days. months, and I was like, let's just instate rules that would help out the older crowd as well, such as no phones in the gym, which I thought was a very fair rule. And even though I was really reserved on talking to the gentleman, I'm really glad that I did, because he actually turned out to be a very wonderful man and he came around a lot. No one had problems with him ever again, and he turned out to be one of the nicest members that I've actually ever had. And after my internship at Old Palm, I transferred to another high-end country club that just so happens to be right across the street from Old Palm, and it's called Ballon Isles, and I am currently employed there. Instead of working in fitness, I now work in a position called a card room attendant, which I personally love. I love working in the card rooms. I love working in fitness as well. That was my passion for so long, but now I've kind of gotten a little bit older and I can grow into something a little bit different. So in this position, I oversee many, many, many card rooms on a day-to-day basis. Ballon Isles Country Club has one of the largest selections of card rooms, and I just so happen to be the only employee who works in this position. So all day long, I have no coworkers. It's just me. I kind of help these people with their member needs, whether they be answering questions, assisting them with their demands in the club, anything they need, serving them something to eat or drink, as well as cleaning up their trash cards, canasta, mahjong sets, whatever they're playing with. And I kind of make them feel comfortable in what they're doing. And this kind of it hits a lot of difficult people, because the Ballon Isles has I think it's a 85% of elderly rate. So there's a lot of old people, and a lot of old people like to play cards, but it's nothing that I can't handle, but there has been issues I have had to deal with in the card room so far. And this leads me into my next source story, which occurred at Ballon Isles. I have encountered several different issues at working at Ballon Isles, but I recall having a group of ladies, particularly late at night. I close until 11 p.m. every night. They wanted to have a better time. They had their own room. They were being kind of rowdy, a little bit loud, had some music going, and they were in room 3. Just for clarification, they were in room 3, and I had women in room 2 who were very upset with these other women in room 3 because they were making noise and interrupting their card games. And as a card room attendant, someone who knows the rooms, it is more than fair to be quiet. Like, people who know cards, you have to be quiet. It's kind of a respect thing. But because it was so late at night, I decided, you know what? A lot of my rooms are empty right now. I'm just going to place you, ladies in room 3, into room 10. I'm going to push you so far away from these room 2 ladies that it's impossible for you guys to collide, I guess. And I ended up moving them, and it turned out perfect, to be honest. They didn't complain, and both groups came up to me separately and they thanked me for doing what I had to do, and they didn't argue, and it was actually wonderful. And just thinking about working country clubs in general, having experience at 2 country clubs solidified my thoughts, and having to work for them in my future, that leads me into my target company. My target company is Lifetime Fitness, or my current employer, Ballon Isles. Originally, in the beginning of the semester, I was talking about how I wanted to work. I was so sure at Lifetime Fitness, and I would totally work there now. I still would, but working at Ballon Isles has showed me that I love what I do. I love working at Ballon Isles, and they are a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful company. And I could see myself growing there for the next 40 years, to be honest. Considering I want to end up in a higher end position at a country club, like a general manager or something like that. And one thing I really love about country clubs over what other people have been talking about, like hotels, is I get repeat guests, but instead of repeat guests, they're called members. And because I have members, I can get to know these people on a better level and build connections, which is the key to success. People don't talk about it enough, how important it is to make connections, especially in hospitality. So that's exactly what I get to do. And I love what I do. I'm very, very happy. I love being able to have good communication and solve problems and just make everything happier place. And in the end, like, I thank you all for listening to my presentation. Go Knights. Thank you guys so much.